The G20 summit under Brazil's presidency officially starts today in its resort city of Rio de Janeiro. World leaders have gathered both from the G20 member states and observer countries. Rahmat Idris brings us the conversation with Indonesian ambassador to Brazil on what to expect for the summit.
We are here from the beautiful city of Rio de Janeiro, the capital of Brazil. I'm Rahmat Idris, and we are right in the thick of the actions of the G20 summits scheduled to take place right here in the capital of Brazil's Monday and Tuesday, the 18th and the 19th of November 2024. We are going to dive deeper into what Indonesia has to bring in terms of the discussions and help navigating the outcomes of this year's summit under the presidency of Brazil. And I'm extremely honored and thrilled to be standing in conversation with the ambassador of Indonesia to Brazil, His Excellency Edi Yusuf. Mr. Ambassador, there's lots to expect on the table. All the pillars have been unveiled by the government of Brazil since a year ago. So during your stewardship here in Brazil, how have you analyzed all of these key discussions under the presidency of the G20 of Brazil?
I think Brazil has a different objective compared to other G20 presidency. I think Brazil will focus on the building what they call a world just and sustainable planet, which main focus on three priorities areas. First is the social inclusion and sustainable development, particularly against poverty and against hunger and poverty. Second one is more on the energy transition, with also including the social, economic, environmental implications, particularly considering the environmental aspect in any economic or social activities. And the third one is focused on the global governance reform, including a World Bank, IMF, UN, and Security Council. So that is the main three focus of Brazil as a presidency of Brazil.
It's still fresh in our minds, Your Excellency, that back in 2002, less than 2 years ago, we also assumed the presidency of the G20, and we share the same common goals of energy transitions brought over to the next two presidency of the G20. So how will you think our newly sworn-in President, Prabowo Subianto, will sort of champion through all of these principles, energy transitions, peace around the globe amidst the geopolitics and the war in Palestine, for example? How do you think we will help navigate and shape the discussions and the outcome of the G20 this year?
I think this is also the theme that Brazil is bringing is in line with the priority of the government of Indonesia, particularly on the food security, energy security, and also related to environment. Of course, also issues related to Palestine issues, the humanitarian aspect. I think on the food security, I think President has mentioned several initiatives, which is, I think, very similar to Brazil, which is providing a free meal for everybody, which is Brazil has done before. And I think on environment, I think President has been focusing on bringing more on green economy, also on biofuel, particularly on bioethanol and biodiesel. And that kind of concept are the one that the President is really focused. And I think this is also in line with the target of Brazil. And I'm sure that Indonesia and Brazil can work together to promote the more green economy, more sustainable kind of energy, particularly on using biofuels.
Circular economy was also on the table, right?
That's true, yeah.
By the time we are having this conversation, Mr. Ambassador, just a few minutes ago, our president concluded his bilateral meeting with the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, just walked out the doors. What have you heard about the main outcomes and the key points of the discussions that was underway?
I think one of the issues that has been mentioned by Secretary General, that Indonesia is a key strategic partner of UN. And the Secretary General would like to enhance and strengthen relations with Indonesia, because Indonesia has been very active in promoting many aspects related to food security, to environmental issues, to peace and stability, as well as the readiness of Indonesia to provide more peacekeeping operation in many countries that need Indonesia.
Just one final question, Your Excellency. Now that your stewardship have taken place over the years here in Brazil, how would you describe the current state, the current landscape of bilateral and diplomatic relations between our country and Brazil?
I'm very happy to witness the growing cooperation between Indonesia and Brazil in many aspects, particularly during this year because of the G20. So we receive a lot of ministers coming from Indonesia to Brazil. And there are a lot of new area of cooperation being created, for instance, in health cooperation, in agriculture or agribusiness cooperation, even in judge cooperation also we have another type of new area, including cooperation in science and technology, as well as the research and development. So the trade relations has been increasing from 2.9 billion in 2019 to become 6.5 billion in 2023. And I hope this year we can reach at least 6.7 billion. So maybe in the next 5 years, I hope that the trade relation can increase to 10 billion US dollar.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we can only hope for it to continue to flourish from this point on. Ambassador Eddie Yusuf, the Indonesian ambassador to Brazil, thank you very much, sir, for your insights.
Thank you.
And with that, we conclude our report here from the beautiful city of Rio de Janeiro. And we're going to be here for the whole week, bringing you all the details, all the nooks and crannies of the summit of G20s on the 18th and the 19th of November 2024. And for now, I'm Rahmat Idris and Danu Dirja from behind the camera. Thank you so much for watching.